Hey everybody, it's Flyin Ryan here with a much requested review of the Cheerson CX-20. This is my first GPS quad, first aerial video platform. The camera here is not included, the mount is, but the camera and the waterproof enclosure are sold separately. This is my SJ4000. It's a GoPro knockoff, basically, or as I like to call it, a NoPro. So a nice little mount here, but it's not a gimbal. It's just a an anti-vibration mount. So it has these rubber dampeners and stuff, but no no gimbal, no auto leveling. So it moves when the quad moves. But as you can tell, this is a nice big quad, the biggest quad I've owned so far. It has, the GPS hold and positioning and all that kind of stuff. Pretty nice transmitter here, hobby grade style, or actually I'd go ahead and call this full hobby grade. Just, really nice professional transmitter, good for thumb flyers or pinchers. You've got switches here for all your different modes. This right switch is your main switch, basically. It's a 3-position switch. So to start, have both up on 0. That's just normal manual flying, just like you would anything else. Position 1 is going to be a GPS lock, where it should hold its position, height, and centering and all that. It should just hover in place, as well as it can. And then flip it to position 2 is return back to wherever it took off from. It does, raise itself before returning to home, so you want to make sure that, if you use return to home, you're in an open area. It's not going to fly around trees and houses or anything for you. It's just going to go up and make a beeline back to where it came from, so be careful when using those modes. The left switch here, basically, it's a 2-position, so when you flip it down to 1, what it is doing is now changing the purpose of these modes. So when you flip this to 1, now when you flip this switch to 1, instead of being GPS hold, it is now what they call orientation. So it is nice they've got them all printed right here on the transmitter, so you can remember them nice and easy. So flip this one to 1, now 1 becomes orientation, which is basically headless mode, and then 2 is altitude hold. So now the throttle should maintain its altitude. I think if you give more throttle, it'll raise until you go back to center throttle. If you give, down throttle, lower, and then put it back to center throttle, and it'll hold that position. And then you can move around like this, so that should be good for, filming. You can keep your altitude and then just move it around with the right stick. I think that about covers the transmitter. This is the charger here. It comes with a wall charger, no USB charging on this, since you've got a nice big 3S battery. This is a 2700 milliamp hour 3S battery. It has a XT60 plug here, so you can charge it with a hobby grade charger if you've got that kind of plug and charging cable. This is the balance port, which is or the balance plug, and that's what you use to charge off of the stock charger, and that is a balanced charger. It takes about 4.5 hours to charge with the stock charger, but if you get a hobby grade charger and charge it at 1C, it should take about an hour to charge, so much faster if you've got a hobby grade charger. With a camera attached, you get about 12-minute flights with a 1-minute LVC warning, so you've got a nice long visual LVC warning. The quad itself also beeps during LVC, so that's nice. You've also got an audio LVC warning. I have not flown it without the camera, just because I figure that's what it's meant for. That's how I wanted to do all my testing. But without the camera, I would imagine you get significantly longer, because this is a pretty heavy edition with the camera and the water, the waterproof mount there, and even if you didn't have the gimbal on too, or the vibration mount here, that'd probably help as well. I'd imagine you could get 15, maybe 17-minute flights somewhere around in there without the extra weight. But With the camera on, you get about 12-minute flights. There are optional prop guards for this. They don't come in the box. You've got to order them separately, and I ordered mine, but they haven't gotten here in time to be part of the review. But it does have some prop guards. I believe they screw on... I'm not sure. I think they screw onto the bottom here somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure how that works. But there are prop guards available for it for whatever reason. I guess if you're going to be filming in a gym or something. For outdoors, I guess they'd really only work best just to keep your hands from getting nicked. I don't think you're going to be bouncing this thing off of walls or anything like that. I've got the Wi-Fi version of the SJ4000 here, and you do not want to use that. I found that out the hard way. First time I tried it, I had the Wi-Fi on just because I thought it'd be kind of cool to see if I could, get some FPV footage from the transmitter while flying it. But the Wi-Fi from the camera interferes with the quad's control signal. So I tried to take off and it wasn't responding. I had to kind of ditch it in the grass. So I have done some durability testing. I mean, I've nicked up some props just a little bit. I don't even know if that'll show up on camera. It's so light. But I had to ditch this thing in the grass, from a few feet up and just let it crash down. I've had a few bouncy landings where it's tipped over and the props have hit the ground. And this thing has taken it all. I mean, I was really surprised by how durable this is. I mean, I haven't crashed it like flying it into the ground or anything. But I've had some less than beautiful landings. So yeah, I've just been really impressed by, how durable this is for a quad this size. Let's see, it does have LEDs on it in the arms here. The front is red and the back is green, which seems to be so popular these days. I feel like red should be in the back, green, blue, or white should be in the front. But for whatever reason, they've decided that red is in the front, and this one follows that theme. There is a light in the back here. We've got two different lights. This one on the right here is green LED, and it'll blink while it is looking for the GPS satellites, and when it is ready, when it's found enough satellites, it'll be a solid green. This one I believe is red, and this one shows whether or not it is armed. When you first connect the battery and turn on the transmitter, they'll bind, but the motor will not arm. So if you give throttle, nothing happens. You've got to hold the left stick down to the right in order to arm the motors. That light will turn solid, and now when you give throttle, the motors will spin, and then you can hold it down to the left to disarm the motors, and then when you give throttle, nothing will happen. Let's see, what else is there to say? I tried the GPS hold a couple times. That's not really my kind of thing. I like to just fly manually. I don't really trust any other sort of automated modes and stuff, especially here in the neighborhood. But I tried GPS hold briefly, and it seemed to work, but I mean, I was flying in some wind, maybe 7 to 10 mile an hour wind, and it was kind of moving around. It wasn't holding its position too well. So I don't know if it really does much wind fighting when it's trying a GPS hold, or if maybe, I was getting interference from the trees and houses nearby, but I didn't feel like I just, flipped the switch and it just super solid just stayed right in place. That didn't seem to happen. But I'm going to try to take this out to my parents' house for the flight video so I can get a little bit more interesting flight footage and have some more open area. So we'll test out GPS hold out there and see if it locks on a little bit better. But it flies nice. It's a good flying quad. It doesn't have a ton of pitch. So it's not, not a very fast quad, but, this isn't a sport flyer. This is an aerial video platform, and it's plenty good for that. It can fight probably up to 10 mile an hour wind. Even though it has those strong brushless motors, it just doesn't have the pitch to fight a ton of wind. So I wouldn't try flying this over a maybe 10 mile an hour wind, just because you aren't going to be able to get enough pitch to fight into that wind, and you will end up getting blown away. The yaw rate's pretty decent on it. Again, it's not super fast, but it's It's flyable and it's good enough for an aerial video platform. There are no dual rates, which I kind of wish this had. It's just, one rate. I would have liked to see a slower rate for filming and a faster rate for, high-speed flying or better wind fighting. So I would like to see a little bit more pitch in it, and then with the ability to turn the rates down with a switch. I think that would have been quite useful. There are also the GPS antenna here that hang down out of the inside of the quad, which I have just used Scotch tape there to tape into place into the legs there, so they're kind of hidden, so you don't really see them there. I have found that this right leg tends to show up in the onboard footage just because the camera lens is off-centered here, so it's closer to the right, and the wide angle actually ends up picking up a little bit of this leg, and you can't really adjust left and right on this. I mean, it's all kind of screwed into place, so I can't really angle it more off to the side, so you're either going to have to crop your video or just deal with having the leg in the frame, because there's not really any hardware way to deal with that. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's about all I've got to say about it. So, like I said, I'll take this out to my parents' house out in the country. They've got a nice big farmland, so lots of open space for some good video and some good GPS testing. So, let's go check that out. Alright, this is the flight review of the Cheerson CX-20, my first GPS aerial video quad. I'm out at my parents' house, so should be a good place to fly it. And on the back here, I've got a solid green. That means all my GPS satellites have been found. And then this blinking means that it's not armed yet. So I'll go ahead and set it down. I got my SJCAM 4000 on the mount there, and that's running. We'll show some onboard footage from that in a bit. But first we'll just fly it. And I'm supposed to hold the throttle to the right until that red LED goes solid. Alright, now it's armed. I should have throttle. Yep, there we go. Alright, so to start, I'll just fly it for a bit. And there's no rates on this one, so it just is what it is. And I'm not exactly sure why the transmitter beeps the whole time. That's kind of annoying. That's full speed ahead. That's full forward pitch into the wind. Full forward pitch with the wind. So not a speed demon, but that's got plenty of speed for an aerial video quad. It's got some wind fighting ability, maybe not massive. Let's see what happens if I put it on GPS hold. Not holding very well. Let's try that again. GPS hold. That looks a little better. It's still kind of, I mean, that's hands off right there, so that looks pretty decent. Let's try back up a bit and hit return to home. So now it should fly up for a bit and find its position. Alright, looks like it's coming down to land maybe. No, yes. Is it gonna do it? There, it looks like now it's descending. I think it found its position. Now it wants to go down to land. I mean, I'm not doing anything. This is all hands off. Oh, a little bouncy. Oh. There it is. Well, it did the auto landing. Pretty cool. I just took over. Alright, so now let's go flip to the onboard footage. So we'll see what that onboard footage looks like. No gimbal on this one, just the anti-vibration mount, so you know, every pitch the quad makes comes through on camera. So not super smooth or stable footage. Man, it's hot out here. I got sweat dripping into my eyes trying to fly. A little overhead pass. Really don't know what the beeping on the transmitter is all about. I think that has something to do with being around half throttle, which is what it takes to, you know, hold a hover. It's like right there when I go above half throttle to accelerate, it stops beeping, but I don't know why it needs to beep at me the whole time when I'm in manual mode flying. Alright, let's try to get a little height. And now let's put on GPS hold. So now that's hands off. That's looks like that's holding a pretty good position up there. Rotate a little bit. Alright, take back over manual flight. Bring her down a little bit. Whoa, it's coming down fast. There we go. Alright. I think I'll go ahead and switch back to normal view now. That was enough showing the onboard footage. Now I'll just do some hat cam, watch me fly it a little bit more. I've got a little bit of a breeze. It's probably about as calm out here as you could ever expect out in the open like this, but there's maybe a 5-mile-an-hour breeze, and it's handling it like it doesn't even exist. I don't know that it could handle much more though. That's full pitch into the wind there, so it doesn't have a ton of pitch to fly into super high wind, but it's got the power, that's for sure. Let's do another return to home. Let's see if it does it this time again. Back off a little bit. Looks like it's finding its spot. Wind's pushing around a little bit, getting back on course there. It's pretty interesting just watching it kind of fly itself. I mean, it's completely hands off right now. Oh, wind's pushing it off, but let's see if it starts lowering itself. There we go. Starting to come in for a landing. Oh, getting blown off course again. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There it goes. Just kind of let it, there it goes. Now I hold the throttle down to the left and that disarms it. And there we go, throttle's off, and that's the end of the flight. Well, pretty cool. That's the Cheerson CX-20 GPS aerial video quad. Pretty cool for the price. This is definitely a good way to kind of get into that, you know, the aerial video market, and GPS and all that, kind of get your feet wet and get a feel for it before moving up to a Phantom or something like that. But anyway, that was the Cheerson CX-20. Hopefully you liked the video, and check the video description for price and purchase link if you're interested in getting one for yourself. And I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.